How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another playthrough of Persona 4 Arena, live and exclusive to YouTube. I'm your host, Swishbone, for the remainder of the evening. For those of you who have never been here before, perhaps you've been directed because of the recent announcement by Atlas that's porting some of the classic games to the PC, Xbox and PS5. Maybe you're here searching for some more SMT RPG stuff. Either way, this channel is all about blind live Let's Plays where we like to share our thoughts, tell plenty of bad jokes and banter in the comments that way. So if you've got any questions or anything you want to get into the chat, do what you can. I'll do what I can as well to get involved and interact with all you people. For those of you who've been here before, whether you've been watching the previous playthroughs of Persona 4 Arena, the recent completion of Dishonored, some of the more classic streams such as Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, or the classics such as Final Fantasy 7 and Forza 4, or the obtuse ones like Manual Samuel and Song of Memories. Either way, a huge welcome back, because without all of you, well, this channel would be active, but it would not be as interactive or as reactive. So please do what you can, comments is there, and we'll basically hang out and chill out for the rest of the evening. Now, last time we played Persona 4 Arena, we got through a couple of the stories courtesy of Teddy and Kanji, and that gave us the investigation team's side of things complete. So now, we return to the residents of Tatsumi Port Island to bring you the S.E.E.S angle, and we're going to start with everyone's favourite robot Persona user, I.S., although she's not mine, because I still think Metis is better. Hate me if you must. I only speak the truth. Here we go.
I'm on a mission.
Apparently she's on a mission, and we're going to continue from the cliffhanger. And this, I can't remember exactly how her cliffhanger ended. I think she'd literally just started talking to Labris. But let's see.
Labris?
Labris murmurs her name to herself. Her head hangs lifelessly as she stares at her mechanical limbs. The shock slowly drains from her pale face, replaced with bitter comprehension. Across from us, the shadow stares at me with a piercing, mocking stare.
That body. You can't be.
Yes, Shadow Labris, she can.
I am the same as you. 7th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon. Aegis.
And the comparison here is that, oddly enough, the Labris version looks a bit more human. You don't have the visible exposed components like with Aegis.
I am the model that came after you.
Are you here to seize her? I won't let you! Not when I'm almost free!
The shadow turns to its double and cries out impatiently.
Labris! Or do you want to be caught and locked in a cramped little box again?
Her eyes wander in search of something to settle on and eventually fixate on Yosuke. Though he is still in shock, unable to speak in the heat of the moment. That moment of silence is enough to shatter any hope of a peaceful resolution. Labris smiles lifelessly and hangs her head.
No, don't get me wrong. I was just a little surprised.
Ooh dear.
No, it's okay. That's how a normal person would react.
Her sad, weak voice makes my heart ache.
Let you take her back. I will gain my freedom, whatever it takes.
Suddenly, the shadow fires its arm out. A long chain trails behind it that wraps itself around Labris many times over. The shadow begins to pull her in with its winch. Unable to struggle, Labris is dragged over to her captor, who lifts her over its shoulder. The shadow then runs off full speed out of the announcement room. It fled with such explosive velocity that it's hard to believe it was carrying its own weight.
Wait!
I give chase. It is unfortunate I cannot explain the situation to Yosuke-san, but I have no choice. I exit into the hallway and see the shadow make for the stairway leading up. This is the top floor, so it must be heading for the roof.
Interesting, so we might actually be going up to the roof straight away with the Aegis story. That'll be a nice change compared to what happened with the likes of Kanji, Teddy, Narukami, Chie and so forth.
I climb to the landing and take the stairway 2 steps at a time before throwing open the door. But what I find there is not one would expect to see on the roof of a building. Yeah, we're straight at TV zone. It is best described as a TV studio. And good evening, Avian. Welcome. You say you've made it. Well, you're in for, let's say, we've literally had a scene where Labris was carted off by her shadow straight to the roof where the TV studio is. I guess this story's taken a different direction, it would seem. The spotlights hanging from the scaffolding, the cameras here and there. Up until now, no matter how warped things got, they still look like part of a school, but not here. It's always the way of just when you think you can get a nice, smooth ride, you're called away to do something. Been there many times before. What is this place? Just then, the door behind me slants open again, and a boy comes running out, breathing hard. It is Yosuke-san. I am perplexed. Why did he chase after us? There is no one here who would warrant leaving his friend Ritse-san's side. Suddenly, the area is surrounded by a menacing aura. The shadow appears. It is still carrying Labris over its shoulder. Labris shouldn't be unconscious, but she isn't showing any signs of resistance.
Persistent pests. Too bad for you.
Yeah, so we went straight up here. Yeah, we were in the announcement room, Avian, but we've gone straight to the roof.
The Grand Prix is still on. Have fun wasting time fighting each other.
Here we go. It's Aigis versus Yosuke.
Hey, wait! Oh.
As soon as Yosuke-san turns around to give chase, he runs up against something. I try stretching out my hand. Just as I thought, there is an invisible wall. Though it wasn't here when I climbed up the stairs. The only door back into the school is the one beyond the wall. In other words, we are trapped. Yosuke-san hangs his head in shame and looks at me awkwardly.
I guess this means we have to fight. Sorry, I feel like I got in your way.
I came here without thinking and fell right into the enemy's trap. I'm sure that's what he's thinking. But as I see it, it isn't Yosuke-san who should be apologizing.
I am also sorry for all this.
Oh. Huh? Yeah, I'm with Yosuke here. What's Aigis apologising for?
We are the ones ultimately responsible for this incident. I am sorry to have dragged you all into it. If your friends are safe, I would suggest you evacuate at once. But in these circumstances, I must go after her.
There's no need for you to take the blame. I mean, I feel the same about wanting to go after her.
Why? I'm not sure this concerns you.
I promised I'd protect her, but I couldn't back her up when she needed me the most. So, I want to apologize and actually keep my promise this time. I feel like I can't leave her alone right now.
In his eyes, I could see a glimmer of solemnity.
I think I should explain certain things to you. I'm not authorized to disclose everything, but...
So this is the backstory for Yosuke, who hasn't seen the entire thing.
I review the important parts for him. That personas and shadows are universal. That they have existed since ancient times, and that there are probably little known battles and pacts all over the world to harness their powers.
Yes, even deceased dictators can come back for them, can't they? All you people who watch my Innocent Sim playthrough know exactly what I'm talking about.
That I have experience in one such battle and was in fact created for the purpose. I am a weapon given a heart in order to use a persona. I explained that Labris was a prototype, long sealed away, that was lost during a recent incident. Yosuke-san doesn't seem to swallow all of it, but he listens attentively nonetheless.
There are shadows outside the TV too? Who would have thought?
I was surprised as well, to find out that a world like this was accessible through televisions.
Yes, TV can enter your mind in many ways, kids, and rob you of your soul. Which is why I don't watch TV, but you all watch me. I'm going to shut up now.
Believe me, we were pretty shocked last year too.
I looked straight into the boy's eyes without laughing at his attempt to lighten the mood. Only the winner can leave, so we must fight. There is no ignoring that cold fact. I suspect the Shadow set this up to buy time. We don't have a moment to waste. I don't say anything, but Yosuke-san seems to get the picture.
Can you tell me something? What's going to happen to Labris once you catch her?
I cannot answer that.
You're welcome for that, Avian. You're welcome for the memory.
Yeah, I thought so. You did say that she was a weapon after all. I'm really surprised you can't talk about it with outsiders.
Is that all? I must go get her back. If you cooperate with me, I am sure I can knock you out painlessly.
I just love the way she says that so softly. I could knock you out painlessly. Gives me Shadows a bit serum anyways. And well, to be fair, Avian, depending on the anime, it probably will rob you of your soul. Love Live certainly robbed me of mine. In the cutest way possible.
In response to my blunt suggestion, a wry smile appears on Yosuke-san's face. However, his eyes still have that gleam.
Sorry, but I can't back down.
Are you really going to fight me? Not to boast, but you would challenge a living weapon?
She said she wanted to be free. Hey, I made her a promise. I want to see it through. I guess you could say it's a guy pride thing?
He jokes about it, but there is resolve behind his words. He will not back down from that resolve. What he is really saying is this. My feelings for Labris are as strong as yours. I smile inwardly, though it does not show on my face.
I understand. I accept your challenge.
So it's Athena versus Jiraiya. I'll say over kanjis. Why? I don't think it really matters, but I'll choose that one anyway. I've not played as Aegis for a long time, so I've no idea what her moveset is. But we'll spam as many buttons as we can and see how we get on.
Finals.
Oh, okay.
Just getting started. Sheesh, here goes. Just getting started. Sheesh.
He's hit. Severe impact. Got it. Down. Right there. Down. Fire. Sheesh. Down. Fire.
Just getting started. Are you kidding me?
Oh, come on, now that was cheeky. I'd already kicked him down and then continued beating the crap out of him with an all-out attack. Yosuke knows no release.
Yosuke-san smiles sheepishly at me from the floor.
I had a feeling I didn't have a chance against a pro like you. Ow. You sure are strong, Aigis-san.
Are you all right?
He waves his hand to show that he is fine. He should be exhausted. Perhaps the guy pride thing prevents him from admitting it.
Oh yes, I guess. It's kind of like me after I do all of my 10k runs. I'm there caked in sweat and gulping water and I'm like, do this all day. The gym instructor's like, get out.
Looks like I'll be staying behind.
I will do what I can to not force anything on my sister that she does not want.
Can you tell her that I wanted to apologize to her too? Of course, I'll tell her myself once this is all over, but... Oh, and one more thing. Tell her we can have a party when this is all over.
Yosuke-san.
Oh, you're invited too, of course.
My heart is warmed. He's not worried about Labris' safety. He's worried about her heart. I nod vigorously.
Yes, I will make sure to tell her, though we are not capable of eating food. Will that be a problem?
Hang on a second, you were choosing sushi in Persona 3 FES. I've not forgotten, game.
Also, you could give her rancid gravy in Tartarus.
Yeah.
Rancid gravy. Why don't you keep that?
Nah, it's no problem at all.
Thank you.
I will save Lapras from this world, from her cell of solitude. There are people in the outside world who accept us as allies.
Good evening, Mr. Jack. How are you doing, mate?
Some of them consider us friends. I am happy that hope is close by.
Be careful. That shadow looked pretty strong.
I will. Please stay safe.
As he cheers me on from behind, I leave the roof. As soon as I re-enter the school, I can sense the shadow's presence without needing to scan for it. I followed the presence back to the announcement room. What is waiting for me there this time? I slowly open the door, wary of an attack. But the room is quiet. No ambush comes. I open the door all the way and step inside.
Yes, Avian. Puppers liked sushi until Yucatan made it clear that we couldn't feed him fish, it would make him sick. And he did that legendarily cutesy puppy dog face. I still remember that. It still hurts.
Both versions of Lapras await in the back of the room. I quickly step between the two, shielding Lapras from her shadow. But the shadow does not seem alarmed. It spins its axe idly.
You're late. I had a feeling you'd be the one to come. Was Yosuke-kun a tough opponent?
As it finishes the sentence, its axe stops. I brace myself in anticipation of an attack. But the shadow smiles brutally.
Just as you thought. The real party begins now.
Just as the words sink in, I hear a sound simultaneously. The heavy sound of the air being sliced behind me. I lunge to the left solely on reflexes. A battle axe slams into the ground where I have been only milliseconds ago.
What? Sister!
Oh, so close.
Lapras takes a combat stance with her battle axe. There is a shocked expression in her wet eyes. She has chosen to fight for the Unreal School.
Is this what you really want?
What else is there for me?
So it's interesting to see these two models side by side and how different they are.
Lapras sounds resigned in her reply. I have no answer for her. My heart aches as if it were cut by a razor.
Yeah, that's not news you want, people. No.
It's finally come to this. Sister versus sister. Let the battle begin!
The shadow jeers at me with delight. I do not have the presence of mind to deliver a rejoinder.
A rejoinder? The word joinder is contract between parties? Rejoinder? That's a word I've never heard of before. Then again, in Persona 3 I've never heard of transmogrify, so who knows?
The battle about to play out is straight from the worst case scenario I had envisioned. The very person I hoped to save. My sister. I must defeat her with my own hands.
Aegis versus Lapras, machine versus machine.
Finally!
No, Avian, it's not. It wasn't retort. It said rejoinder, and I said that's not a phrase I'm familiar with. I'm not saying it's not a word. It's just one I've not heard before. There's something cheap about doing the all-out attack move to finish at the end of the fight after you've already got the KO. It's rubbing salt into the wound. Twice I've done that now.
Labrys loses her strength and falls to her knees.
And in the background you can hear the music from Persona 3.
Why? Why can't I stay like this?
The hope she'd risked so much to gain has been shattered. She mutters piteously as she falls. She is not the only one who wants to collapse. I never imagined this would be so painful. Every time my attacks connected, I felt as if I was tearing out a piece of my heart.
And it's an interesting point you raised there, Avian, where, like you're saying in Labrys game, they mentioned they won't give her long-range weapons, but I guess has guns. It's just curious as to how it's come back around, and maybe they saw more control by actually giving them firearms, which doesn't make much sense when you think about it.
This unwanted exchange of violence that will end in one of our destruction leads to nothing but despair.
Don't you dare, Monokuma. Don't you dare.
Each time I felt that pain, the memories of Labrys I saw in the classroom, those vivid images made sense. The sterile mechanical rooms that made up most of her visual memories. It must have been the facility where she was created. At that facility, Labrys was forced to endure the same pain she is feeling now. In order to gather combat data, she was forced to destroy her system models, even though they had hearts. Not just once or twice, but over and over and over. It's too much for my mind to immediately comprehend. Agitation spreads through me like a fever. I clutch my chest.
I knew that you couldn't beat her.
The shadow, in contrast, is completely nonchalant.
But wow, you really didn't have any qualms about attacking her. Deep down, you must really want to make them suffer, don't you? You want them to go through what you had to. No! You want the everyday boys and girls to experience what you had to go through, right? That's why we're in a school having a fighting tournament. You want to see close friends fight for their lives against each other. Because if they do that, then they might understand. You want to make them understand.
I'm loving the whole "you want to make them understand" kind of undertone to the voice.
That ain't true! But it was no use. Even another living weapon can't understand you. It's alright though. You don't have to worry about that anymore. I'll take care of everything from here. I'll destroy anyone who doesn't understand you and comes to get in your way. Just like you once did. Please stop! That's all a lie! You're not...
Oh, there we go.
Finally! You finally said it! I'm finally free!
The shadow's eyes start to glow full of life. It isn't just a change in its attitude, its power seems to actually be rising. Did something in its conversation with Labrys catalyze this change? Too late, it hits me. What did the shadow want with Labrys? It was trying to buy time, which meant it needed something from her.
It's time for the true star to take the stage!
Its shout shakes the air. As if in response to the cry, the room begins to warp. The view beyond the window shimmers ominously.
And here we go, the anime scene.
Yes, the power!
A giant incinerator appears from the darkness. Countless chassis are falling in to be cruelly destroyed. Illuminated by the blood-red light of the flames, the shadow reveals its true self. The scene of Labrys and the giant beast chained behind it brings to mind the summoning of a persona. I run over to Labrys and stand her listless body up.
I won't be needing that trash anymore.
It seems that the shadow has accomplished its goal with Labrys. I was used, forced to fight my sister for this purpose. I clench my teeth at my own slowness to comprehend.
Now, let's get started, shall we?
This isn't just for Labrys. This is the enemy, the fate of anyone not human.
It seems that I must take responsibility for this.
So, fight number 3. Here we go. Now we're against Shadow Labrys. Final. I managed to run out of ammo, but I made it. It's a good question there, Evie. You say, which look do I prefer, Aegis or Labrys? I think Aegis has got like the more kind of Greek style, but I do actually like the more red eyes of Labrys. And of course, Metis was my favourite, so yeah.
The monster's form melts away as it disperses like fog. Only a silhouette similar to Labrys remains. It falls to its knees, having no will to resist anymore.
And yes, that was a bit too fast, wasn't it, Avian?
I somehow pulled through.
I turn to face the real Labrys.
Are you all right?
She is conscious and seems to have major damage. All that remains is to be tested is her will.
Please listen. I have a message for you. From Yosuke-san. He said that he is sorry for promising to help you and being unable to support you when you needed it most. Additionally, he said that he would be throwing a party later. You are invited, of course.
You're lying.
If that is what you think, you can ask him yourself later. Now please, stand up.
I lend her my shoulder and prop her up. She follows my lead, but her legs are still shaking.
How come this happened? I didn't want to hurt anyone or make them suffer.
I know. That was a shadow going berserk. Not everything it said reflects your true feelings. I had a similar experience, actually. My other self was on the verge of going berserk.
Was she? I suppose at the start of the answer, yes.
It told me there was an innate contradiction in having a heart, but not being human, preventing me from truly protecting others.
Wasn't that tough to listen to?
Yes, of course.
Then how can you stand it? How are you still acting like everything's fine?
I'm fine right now, but I'm sure I will suffer that pain again someday. Very probably, as long as I am myself, it will never go away as long as I live.
It won't? Then what can I do but give up? What am I supposed to do?
We'll be all right, as long as we have friends.
Labrys opens her eyes wide.
It was when you were alone that you suffered most. I'm sure of it. If you do not give up on reaching out to others, you will surely find someone who understands. Or maybe...
As I say this, I can hear voices from outside. They are calling our names. The voices grow closer and closer, and eventually one of the doors flies open.
Hey, there you are! Thank goodness.
Yay, best girl's back. Woo.
Are you two okay?
You seem to have the matter in hand.
Kanji-san and Rise-san arrive shortly after. Now that the shadow has been defeated, the invisible walls trapping them have disappeared. There are some faces that are new to me as well. As I recall from the video, they are Yu Narukami-san and Yukiko Amagi-san. There was also a costume that looks like General Teddy. This must be the real Teddy that Chie-san mentioned. The resemblance is strong, but this one is so charming that it is hard to hate him.
Wait until he starts saying all his bear puns to you, I guess. Oh, you will change your mind. You will change your mind very quickly. Very quickly indeed.
Everyone has considerate words for Labras. My heart is filled with warmth. They could have ignored us outsiders and escaped, but they didn't. They were truly worried about us and came running. All of them. I address Labras, who is looking back and forth between me and them with a perplexed look.
It might be more accurate to say that those who understand you are already here. Of course, I want to understand you as well. Please talk to me whenever you want. Tell me about your memories, even if you have to take them one at a time.
Labras sinks deep in thought, then looks at me again. I nod silently. She slowly starts walking and stops in front of the shadow, who stands quietly as a real shadow at the other end of the room.
You were right. I was always alone, so I had no one to talk to, no matter how much it hurt. And I went and blamed that on them. I'm sorry I ignored you all this time. I was the one who left you all alone. No. You are me, after all. This is my persona.
This reminds me of us from last year.
Yeah, it's the same thing. She's really no different from us.
Yosuke-san and the others laugh. To acknowledge one's weakness in front of others, they must have earned their personas through the same ordeal. I can see now why their bond is so strong.
Yeah, Avon, you're not wrong to be fair. The reused scenes is definitely one way of saving money. It's been done in quite a few games to be fair. It's like you often see assets where they turn them round. Back on the PlayStation 1 there was a game called Tenchu Stealth Assassins. And there's like 3 outdoor levels where I'm 99% certain all they've done is flip the map round and put black bars. And that's how they got around it.
The tension in the air evaporates. Just as Labras' expression softens, a familiar voice comes from behind.
Is that Labras?
Everyone turns to look at the newcomer.
Mitsuru-san, Akihiko-san, you're all right.
Of course we are.
There he is, still in his stupid cape and all.
I run toward them. Neither of them appear to be injured. I notice that Yosuke-san and the others are not surprised to see them. They must already be aware of the situation. though they react to their arrival differently.
Who are these people and what the hell are they wearing?
Important questions, Yosuke. Ask the important questions.
Oh man, a dude storming across the battlefield in just a cape? I'm all about that.
Oh no.
I'd say you've got good taste.
Get your hands off! Get your hands off!
Seriously?
Naoto's like, what?
Labrys grabs weakly at my arm.
Don't worry.
I smile and nod. She still bites her lip in anxiety, but she's no longer afraid of everything.
You're Labrys, correct?
Labrys simply nods in response to Mitsuru-san's question as she walks up. There is a moment of silence. Mitsuru-san's sigh of relief breaks it.
I'm glad you're safe.
Labrys smiles back awkwardly.
Been there many times, that
Yay!
kind of smile.
The look on her face helps dispel the tension in Yosuke-san and his friends. Mitsuru-san notices this as well. I step forward alongside Mitsuru-san to introduce ourselves and show our appreciation.
Oh, don't be dropping spoilers in the story to chat there, Queen. Boo! Even though we've already played through before. Controlled. Under control. Under the thumb. Just like me.
It seems that we have never met a Persona user who didn't awaken in the TV world. We spent some time discussing our respective circumstances.
It's cool you've been listening. How are you getting on, Queen? You enjoying your day?
Teddy leads us back to the roof. They say that this was the place they used to enter and exit this world. Labrys, who still doesn't quite understand that she is in the TV, cocks her head in bewilderment. Yosuke-san and his friends gather around her and explain everything. She is shocked at first, but as she grows accustomed to the idea, she begins laughing. Relieved, I leave Labrys to them. I approach Mitsuru-san and Akihiko-san.
Is it 1 to 12? It's probably more like, for that particular point, part 8 to 12 maybe? Is that where we first got to that scene? I also can't remember. Loads better than yesterday. My day was a bit like that today. Still busy, but not as bad as yesterday was.
I relay to them all the information I have gathered on this case so far. I tell them that the tournament host was Labrys' shadow, which had emerged from her, and that Labrys may not have been stolen, but that she may have escaped on her own. She has the ability to manipulate people's senses. That would explain the signs of mental interference found on the hijackers. We were able to discover Inaba through our research. Perhaps she used the same methods. It would have taken time, but she was sealed away for over 10 years. Although she was caged, it is still not clear whether she was conscious or not during that period. She had more than enough time. Mitsuru-san and Akihiko-san show no surprise, but they do let out a long sigh. In contrast to Mitsuru-san, who is lost in thought, Akihiko-san goes to get an answer straight from the source. Labrys startles when he taps her shoulder.
So when did you actually awaken?
Akihiko-san's question is blunt, but Labrys handles it calmly, knowing it is the natural thing to ask.
You know, I can't remember.
She is being honest. She had used her ability on herself. Not even she knew what she really was. But Akihiko-san seems skeptical. Having no memory of it also means that she is unable to deny it.
Please, Mitsuru-san, can you be lenient with her?
Mitsuru-san folds her arms and thinks, I know she is in a difficult position. Though Labris may have a heart, that does not make her human. She is a weapon with dangerous capabilities. Mitsuru-san cannot decide based on her personality alone what measures to take. Especially now that we are affiliated with the police. We have our reputation to consider.
Yeah, would you, please?
Yosuke-kun.
I know I'm asking without knowing the whole story here, but please don't lock her up again.
Even his friends seem surprised by his outburst, but soon enough they are all giving Mitsuru-san the same pleading look. Mitsuru-san winces before giving a wry smile.
Well, I hadn't intended to seal her away again to begin with.
Mitsuru-san.
Seriously? Did you hear that?
It should be a walk in the park compared to the challenge of sending Aigis to school.
I remember that.
She has no intention of locking her away. The smile on Mitsuru-san's face confirms that much.
And I must say, it was actually quite funny when Aigis was first introduced to the school. I remember that from the Persona 3 playthrough.
Thank you so much.
How about if we go outside? This isn't really the place to stand around and chat.
Yeah. Well, it was a hell of a way to start off a holiday, but at least it's over. And why'd that shadow have to pick our school and us of all people?
Mitsuru-san and Akihiko-san freeze.
You know, that is odd now that you mention it. I was told this place takes its shape from a person's memories. Why would it become this high school?
I had picked up on that incongruity as well. Putting aside that Inaba was chosen as the escape destination, why was a specific school so carefully recreated? I also have my doubts about Labris's power. Strictly speaking, it doesn't rob one's sanity. What her power really does is cloud one's senses with illusions. I'm not sure that would have been enough to control those hijackers so completely.
Hey, Labris.
Akihiko-san calls out to Labris again. The instant he puts his hand on her shoulder, she suddenly twitches.
Hey, what's the matter?
Labris abruptly leaps backwards. Everyone is baffled to see her white body flying over their heads.
She's...
Yeah, exactly. It's like if the antagonist is from someone from Yasagami High, I don't think who it could be. If it's the bleeding Afro dude with all of his riddles now, I'm not going to be impressed. It doesn't make any sense, so it's definitely not him. I'm trying to think of any characters you didn't have any resolved storylines with who it could possibly be. I'm clutching. I'm striking out. I can't think of anyone interesting enough.
Stay back, everyone.
Akihiko-san is the first to realize the danger and yells a warning to the others.
Sister?
You'd actually love that queen if it was the Riddle King.
Labris stands there emotionally. Slowly her right hand reaches for the battle axe on her back. Tension fills the air.
No! Why?
The blade of the axe is pointed towards me. I do not comprehend. What's going on? As I stand there confused, Labris lowers her stance, readying herself for battle. I open my mouth to try to persuade her, but I can't. There is no time. Labris now has the use of her persona. She will be stronger than before. If I don't focus on counterattacking, I'll lose. I clench my jaw and hold in the despair that threatens to overwhelm me. I must concentrate on the problem at hand.
Yep, use concentrate and then McGee Allowan. Move straight out of Elizabeth's playbook. Although in this game, Elizabeth has Thanatos. Which I still don't understand. Why has Elizabeth got Thanatos as her persona? And not Orpheus? Or Messiah? It doesn't make sense for it to be Thanatos. You know, Thanatos might be scary, but it's not as scary as Elizabeth in general. I've not actually fought Elizabeth in Persona 3, but I understand she's one of the hardest Velvet Room attendants to fight. In fact, I don't know any of the Velvet Room attendants who are easy, apart from the twins on New Game Plus. If you've got the right demons. I got sick of hearing Severe Impact. That's why I won that fight, then I got sick of it.
Labras falls to the ground with a thud. I try to run to her, but I stop when I hear an unearthly voice.
You succeeded in repulsing it yet again. Very unexpected.
That sounds like Aegis, but distorted.
Everyone takes a defensive stance and looks around.
What is this? I'm not getting a good feeling about this.
It's certainly an ominous presence. That voice.
Is that my voice?
Are we gonna have a Shadow Aegis?
Yes, it is. Before I can react, an unnatural-looking shadow, a clump of darkness thick as a pool of blood, forms next to Labras. Our true enemy rises up from the sludge. It is a sight I will never forget.
No. Aegis-san's shadow?
To think you'd fight back this fiercely. No wonder you once drove back a god.
This makes no fucking sense, game. No, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Yes, I want them even more now.
Now that voice, without being a huge spoiler, sounds like another god from another of the games. Queen might know the one I'm talking about. Shall we say it begins with I and ends with I?
Want them? What does that mean?
Yosuke-san lashed out at the enemy, but it ignores him and continues talking.
Sadly, it seems things won't be going according to plan this time. But I'll make use of what tools I have to the very end. This is my last chance. No, more like a marvelous entertainment.
Entertainment?
Instead of answering, it rises its right hand over her.
Stand, my puppet.
Labras stands up as if being pulled by strings.
Is it controlling her?
Sister!
She doesn't answer. Her face is a blank stare and her shoulders hang unnaturally. She is every inch its puppet. Confused, I look again at the enemy. Is that my shadow? It looks like me, but its voices, its powers, they are all so different from mine. But before I can come to a conclusion, the enemy uses Labras to make its next move.
This form is exhausted from constant battle and will be useless as an asset. But unless you destroy it, it will keep rising up and attacking you all. What will you do?
With the battle axe in hand, Labras dashes forward without warning. Her attack is much more powerful than the last battle. Even with all my strength, I am being pushed back.
Oh crap. If this keeps up...
Let's do this! Takemika!
Wait! Don't interfere!
What?
Please!
I clench my teeth. Labras is under that thing's control and ignoring her own limits. And she's already damaged and exhausted from the previous battle. If we all attack, we might be able to contain her, but she could be destroyed in the process.
Now, may you suffer and curse your fate. Relinquish your personas.
Relinquish?
Personas and shadows are one and the same. If I poison your hearts, I can recruit shadows with unparalleled strength.
So we've suddenly gone into Shin Megami Tensei territory. Recruiting shadows. Yes, the spin-off has come full circle, people.
Wait, what? You mean turn our personas back to shadows?
The heart is frail. Its weaknesses are never fully vanquished. Given the opportunity, it can betray you and return to darkness. Old wounds that you thought you had overcome, opened once again. You almost let go of your hearts, your personas. This one's desire to make people suffer was perfectly suited for such a plan.
Plan?
You caused all this to gather strong shadows?
You bastard. Who are you?
You had best hurry and decide. Who will be destroyed? This shell? Or the lot of you?
Yeah, cool, you're like, nah, I'll keep the persona as it is, thanks.
Labrys flies through the air again and unleashes a full force attack. I am forced to one knee. If she attacks again, but just when I am sure it's over, something happens.
Sorry, but this show is over.
I see Mitsuru-san stand straight up out of the corner of my eye. Suddenly, the menacing aura surrounding Labrys is dispelled like magic.
What?
For the first time, the enemy seems shocked. Freed from the spell, Labrys falls to the ground.
Sister!
I run to her and cradle her in my arms. What was that? Mitsuru-san smiles defiantly and glances up to the sky.
That's right, people. She used Marin Karen on the camera. She charmed the producer. Marin Karen finally hit.
Looks like you made it in the nick of time. You saved us, Yamagishi.
Fuka?
An answering voice echoes in my head. That soft but extremely reassuring voice.
Are you all okay?
Oh, wow. And what an odd design they've given her. They've actually made her look even more like a child. I'm actually shocked at that.
Fuka-san?
She actually, it's almost like they've taken the asset for Ayane and just like dulled the cheeks a bit. Fuka, what have they done to you?
Fuka Yamagishi-san. She is a fellow ally who helped us overcome the challenges we faced in the past. I cannot help but smile with surprise and joy.
So you had a third assistant.
Ooh, what a soothing voice! My teddy senses are telling me that this is a real cutie pie.
Oh, why am I not surprised? But yeah, hair is a bit longer, I'll give her that.
Is this like Rise-chan's persona? Wait, where is she? This feeling. What the?
Rise-san opens her eyes and looks up.
Voice. It's not coming from in here. Whoever it is out there.
Seriously? She can use hers in the real world? That's amazing.
Yes, that's right, people. Fuka is actually secretly from SMT. She's not a persona user at all. She's a demon summoner.
Even before I can ask, Fuka-san tells me what I want to know.
I guess the enemy is just mimicking your appearance. It's not actually a part of you.
Yeah, of course it's not, because she's still got a persona.
Very impressive to guess correctly from such a long distance away.
Mitsuru-san stares at the enemy in shock. We hear Fuka-san's words as if she is speaking, but technically there is no sound. And to be fair, Queen, we have actually seen Fuka use her persona in the real world. We actually saw it in the dorms on the midnight hour. She transmits her voice directly into people's minds. Other people should hear nothing. Yet the enemy is responding to her. I raise my guard in spite of myself, but there is no fear in me. My doubts about the enemy, my hesitation are gone. My heart starts to burn,
and just as we say that, Heartful Cry starts to play in the background.
What is this? I've never felt this heated emotion before that's running through my body.
You must be the one behind all this. You stole Labrys and threw her into a TV. You were after persona users from the start. That's why you chose this school and tampered with Labrys' memories. And you just demonstrated how you controlled those hijackers.
So this must be the real Puppet Master.
Then, That voice who tried to dissuade me back in that classroom.
You're quite slow for a machine. Can't you tell by looking at me who that was?
So that wasn't something my heart saw, but just a malicious whisper. The fire in my heart is stoked higher, and I make a fist without realizing it. I thought this entire incident was just an unfortunate event caused by my sister's suffering, but her pain was all orchestrated by someone. This isn't her tragedy. Someone saw to it that this would happen. And not just to Labras. Whoever did this tried to manipulate the pain in my heart by posing as my shadow. And to top it off, the culprit posed as everyone here to make them distrust each other, reopening old wounds. This was all an evil plan. I am not human, but because of that, I hold the hearts and bonds of others to be sacred. They saved me. They keep me going now.
You say this guy is dead? I hope you're not hinting at something else. It's not that.
And yet, it tested those bonds and used our anguish for its own purpose. Our hearts put nothing but tools to it. Tools to hurt others. I see. I get it now. This rolling, violent surge of emotion. The shaking, burning, erupting sensation. I realize this is a type of emotion which can best described in a single word. This is fury.
Are you angry? All right, I'll play along. The show must go on, right?
You've gone too far.
I think I might have an extra fighter here. It looks like I'm up against Shadow, I guess. I expect this to be really hard, and I'm expected to actually lose this fight. But we shall see. Yeah, here we are. And yet somehow Shadow, I guess, has a persona as well. That doesn't make sense. Unless they're referencing what happened at the end of the answer. When a certain fight happens. One of my favourite fights in Persona history, actually, that one. I think we cancel each other's moves out then. Oh yes, we got a Persona finish. We got like a Persona super move finish, that's awesome. That's style.
This thing shaped like me falls to the ground on its knees, but it gets right back up with an awkward, jerking motion and lets out an insane laugh. The smile on its face, contrasted with its damaged limbs, has the eeriness of a clown. Yes, everyone loves creepy clowns, don't you, people? Don't you?
This is fine with me. Good enough for my purposes that I confirmed you have enough power to meet my expectations.
No worries, Xavier, and you hopefully get through it as quick as you can and catch up with you later.
Good enough, my ass.
Those are the words of a sore loser.
This is only a temporary form. I doubted there'd be any meaning in changing my appearance, but sure enough, it made for a very enjoyable game. All that irritates me is having to feign cooperation with that foolish human until I obtain the one true vessel.
Some foolish human? Which foolish human?
That foolish human. That's an odd choice of words. It would seem to imply not only that it is not human, but also that it is working with a human to carry out its crimes.
I will see you in another guise next time. Just wait until then.
I love the evil laughs. It's such a classic cliche.
It let out a raucous laugh with my face. After that, it slowly fades away, dissipating into the air.
Yamagishi!
Mitsuru-san quickly calls out. However,
The reading disappeared. It didn't move, it just vanished. What could this mean?
Back to square one again.
Akihiko-san lets out a heavy sigh.
Sheesh. It even had to exit on a lame, evil laugh.
Don't break the fourth wall, Yosuke. Leave the fourth wall alone.
Another guise, huh?
Don't even think about coming around here again!
Yep. Chie's give you the warning. Stay away.
Should we put up some talismans? I've got a lot left over from when we were putting them up in our inn.
How is that going to help, Yukiko?
Well, even if it shows up again, it'll get double the pain we gave it this time.
Who could it be, though? How did it know about our personas?
That aside, it sure had a sneaky way of doing things. This is twice I've been kidnapped into the TV world, you know. Twice!
Their irritation is obvious, and it's only natural. They were toyed with as well, and they did not take Labras's treatment as a tool well. But I cannot encourage them to settle the score. Akihiko-san apparently thinks the same thing.
Don't worry about it. We'll handle things from here.
Wait, but it kinda said it was still after us.
Yosuke's not wrong. It's like, thanks for the offer, mate, but unless you're giving us 24-hour protection, no, we're still a target.
Of course, you should be aware that the enemy is out there. Akihiko only means that there is no need to abandon your lives to pursue it. We will do our best to ensure that no harm comes to you. That is, after all, our duty.
But...
Guys, let's leave this to them.
You can...
Are you serious?
They're right that we need to go back for now. You look beat.
Yu-san, aware of this situation, speaks out. Perhaps he senses our dilemma.
I'm sorry, everyone.
He nods and looks at Yosuke, who reluctantly gives up. Their ability to communicate through eye contact only proves the strength of their bond.
Alrighty, attention please! The trip doesn't end until we get out of the TV!
Dude, we were in the middle of a conversation. What's this about a trip?
And of course you got the happy music as well, so Yosuke's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Get back on track.
You really gave us a scare disappearing like that. And this isn't the first time either.
It's not my fault! Or should I actually sponsor the next Miss Inaba?
Don't even think about it.
Thank you, best girl. Thank you very much. Put him right in his place.
Chie-san's fist is still shaking with anger after impacting Teddy at full strength. There are times when you should give it your all because it's your friend. Ah, how beautiful friendship is. I comprehend. After everyone calms down, we finally move on to the main subject. We are on the roof to begin to leave this world. After getting everyone's attention, Teddy makes a few narcissistic remarks and clicks his heels. Then, like a magic trick at a party, some old TVs appear in a puff of smoke.
What are you doing with this ancient TV? Hang on, where'd you even get this?
It's a Teddy Vision! You can get out from here!
This TV is our escape route? Can we really fit inside?
Ooh, are you a little too front-loaded to fit? In that case, I wouldn't mind helping you squeeze through!
She will execute you, Teddy. It is not a good idea.
You're even worse than before, you know that?
Chie-san and Yosuke-san jump in without hesitation, showing how used to it they are. Seeing that, Akihiko-san and Mitsuru-san shrug and follow suit. Labrys's eyes are wide to see everyone getting sucked into the TV, but she doesn't look scared. Her eyes are actually bright as she glances this way. I can't help but smile at that. She doesn't need my permission to do anything. I tell her to go ahead, and she dives in head first with a giant grin. Although, just as I thought, her wings don't fit, and she gets caught on the screen.
That never happened before!
I burst into laughter to see her legs sticking out of the TV, kicking wildly. I take off the unit on her back, and she instantly gets sucked into the TV. I wonder if she landed safely. As the last one left, I turn around and take a final look.
And then the Reaper appears.
It doesn't feel like it, but it's only been a few hours since we entered the TV, and only 3 days since the hijacking. It was a horrible nightmare, but at the same time, I met some good people. But most importantly, it isn't over. The true test may be still to come. I push my toes in and slip into the TV. Everyone made it back out safely. When we return to the real world, I am surprised to find myself in Junes, a large department store. I have never seen Mitsuru-san so flustered. Even she could not have expected to emerge in the most crowded place in town, and from a display TV at that. But to make it back to the limousine, we have no choice but to walk through the store. Mitsuru-san in her skin-tight suit. Akihiko-san mostly naked except for his cape. Me with my mechanical parts exposed, and Labrys with her axe. Or her wings, I suppose.
And all you have to say there is, Comic-Con, we're cosplaying. That's my excuse.
Not to mention Teddy. Rise-san and Naoto-san are both public figures. One is an idol and the other is a detective. We make quite an outlandish procession. Considering the nature of our operations, I hope to avoid having my picture taken with phone cameras. However, as we walk along, I soon find that my fear of cameras is baseless. In fact, it is not cameras we need to worry about at all. It is the police. I found...
Alright then, now where do you think you're going just like that? And that axe over there, you can have someone's eye out with that. Get in the back of the car. Detective Dejima's got a few words for you.
I find myself anxious in this completely unexpected situation. An arrest would mean disgrace as an unofficial unit, and I'm sure Yosuke-san and the others would like to avoid the inside of Juvenile Hall.
As Ranamamiya knows, she's not wrong.
Everyone hastily agrees with each other and takes off at full speed. I can hear Yosuke-san and Chie-san loudly complaining about the unfairness of the world. Mitsuru-san and Akihiko-san exchange fearless smiles, though cold sweat is streaming from both their heads. Teddy and Labrys seem like they're having fun. I don't think they understand the situation. Yu-san and Yukiko-san run without a word, like determined athletes. Kanji-san tries to turn and fight every so often, with Noto-san having to stop him each time.
Hey, Pug, get out of the way!
Kanji, come on! Rise-san switches on her cell phone to find an alarming number of missed calls, which seems to be the bigger problem for her. In the end, our parting with the Yasagami High School students concludes with a brief goodbye as we scatter like birds.
And no worries, Queen, if you're going to get back to work, hopefully you'll have some fun and complete things soon. Having fun at work? What treachery is this? What am I saying?
That night, we decided to stay the night in Inaba for a quick health checkup and review of the case. After finishing the necessary steps, we decide to take an early rest. The true culprit is still out there, and Labrys needs to get to a lab for proper maintenance. After 10 years of stasis, she was suddenly forced into a series of stressful battles. It would not be surprising if some of her parts are now malfunctioning. Considering the morning traffic, we should leave early in the day. Or so I suggest, but Labrys has other ideas.
Now we've got the S.E.E.S. Tatsumi Port Island School music.
May 4th, the next day. Our car is parked near an intersection away from the main road.
No, it's not. That is the main road. That's the main road you go around to visit Daidara's place to get new supplies. Ayadina. The temple shrine. The Velvet Room. The weird pub at night where you can rate your diligence. That's all on the main road of Ina, but that's the main road itself.
We are here to say goodbye to everyone. Labrys wanted it this way. I am happy that she wishes to see people again of her own will. On the side of the street, all the people we met yesterday are gathered to see Labrys one last time. They wish to say goodbye to her, but had not expected us to contact them.
I asked if I could come see everyone. I wanted to give everyone a real goodbye.
What do you do next? You going back to that lab?
No, I decided I'm gonna work with Mitsuru-san and them. I want to do my damnedest to catch whoever used me to bait a trap for you all.
Alright. Then I guess the party's on hold until after everything's really over. But hey, you should come see us again anyway. Promise me, okay?
You got it.
Labrys shakes hands with each of them. Even after we leave, Labrys keeps waving through the rear window. Waving and waving and waving. Waving and waving and even past the point where the human eye can no longer see her, she is still waving. After she has waved to her heart's content, she turns to see Fuka-san and I looking at her and blushes.
Oh, is Fuka in the game properly then?
Fuka-san giggles.
I'm glad things went well. Oh, but first, it's good to see you again. This is becoming a real reunion.
So now we've got a proper view of her. The design just doesn't look... There's something about the look here that just doesn't look right, and I'm just trying to think what it is. It's kind of cool to see the braid. That's quite nice, don't get me wrong. Why do I get the feeling of seeing that design somewhere else?
Indeed. Things are going to heat up from now on. I must get back and reallocate my staff.
You're including me in there, right? Every opponent I made a mistake against on my journey, I made sure to go back and get a rematch. This'll be no different.
It should spur discussion amongst the staff again about working Yamagishi into our unit.
Huh? I'm still not sure about joining any special unit.
Flustered, Fuka-san starts wringing her hand. Looking at the seat next to me, I notice Labrys looking at the sky from her window.
I didn't know the sky was so blue.
There is deep wistfulness in her voice.
Back at the lab, they only let me out at night. But this... I feel like I've seen it once before. That same bright blue sky.
Once before. I recalled the memory relating to those words among the countless memories of Labrys awakened within me. The sea. That trillion sky and lingering clouds, the emerald blue water. In my mind, I placed Labrys at the scene. A white figure gazing from the edge of a pier. I know this scenery.
Yep, you should do, because I get the feeling that that is the very same pier that she stood at when she was approached by Junpei, Makoto, and Akihiko, and that of course was on Yakushima. For an instant it feels that I do. Like a knot slowly undoing itself, the lid to a box inside me opens, and something hot fills my chest. What had been only an image becomes a memory. Soon after, I understand everything. I know when Labris saw this scene. I know what she thought when she saw it, what she wished for.
I see now.
Noticing my murmur, Labris looks at me in wonder.
The scenery from your memory was the pier outside of the Yakushima laboratory.
That's a cute little photo, a cute little piece of art between the pair of them, isn't it? Although I guess his chin is like almost as square as Batman's from Batman the Animated Series.
Suddenly, Labris's eyes open in surprise.
The date was the final day before you were sealed. You made a heartfelt wish there. You hoped that your successor would make the same wish to see someone precious to them, and that meeting would take place at the pier. You dreamed that your successor would be able to go beyond that pier to places you would never be able to see for yourself.
Boom!
And that even if your memories were deleted, your feelings would be passed on to the next generation.
Labris's ruby eyes begin to quiver. My words have unearthed her buried memory.
Yeah, that's right.
It was at that very place where I met the friends I have now. When I was searching for someone, I found myself naturally drawn there for some reason.
My memories return to a certain encounter. That day, on that very same pier, I met him. My dear friend.
I think it was because of your wish.
My wish? You mean the thing I wished for that day actually came true?
Indeed. It stayed alive for 10 years. Thank you, Labris. It's because of you that I found happiness.
Huh. I didn't know that. My desires, all the feelings I got from the others, they didn't go to waste.
Tears stream down Labris's cheeks. I stretch out a finger to wipe them off, but it is already wet from a drop on my own cheek. Mitsuru-san and Fuka-san smile at us gently. Fuka-san seems a bit teary-eyed herself.
I gotta thank you, too. You made me remember something important.
After wiping her tears, Labris looks at me, her eyes clear and determined.
No, it's just the onions, is it, Avian? Is that what it is? It's the onions in your sandwich.
There's someone I have to find. I need to meet her so I can tell her something.
I am about to extend my hand to shake hers, but it now seems too distant a gesture for we sisters. Instead, I pull her towards me and look at her face to face.
I'm sure you will. You're not alone anymore. We can search for her together.
Yeah. Thanks.
As the sun shines down, she gives me the biggest smile I've seen on her yet.
Well, that one was longer than I thought it was going to be, that story. Ah, yes, it was Ninja's Arm with Onions. They're the reason, they're the reason, Avian. That's your story and you're sticking to it. Yes, that was a very interesting arc, actually. I found it really quite... It was a really cool surprise with Fuka suddenly coming back. That was an unexpected one, because there's been no reference to her, Junpei, Yukari, Ken, or Koromaru at all in the storyline. There's been no reference to them in terms of what they're doing. So to see Huka turn up out of nowhere is awesome. So, we've seen that story. We still got time to do at least one more. So we'll just wait for the game to catch up.
Welcome
Oh!
to the Velvet Room. This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. Now then, why don't you introduce yourself?
Unbelievably, we've now also unlocked Elizabeth storyline. We can actually play as Elizabeth. We have her. But we're going to complete the S.E.E.S team first, and we're going to do it in the order we played. So, we're going to play as the caped, wandering samurai himself. Let's get going.
Looks like it's my turn.
And we'll go from his cliffhanger. I'm not sure if his was the one where he just fought Kanji or something else happened. I think it was the Chie story where he walked in and carried Kanji through the walls. I think it's the other side of the story.
Why did it have to be now? Who the hell are you?
We've come to take you in. Would it clear things up if I mentioned the name Kirijo?
One Labrys looks at me and yells in rage, but the other one recalls in horror.
No! I'll never go back there!
Crap! She went off!
Damn it, get back here!
The other one dashed after the first one. I immediately tried to pursue them, but
Hey, wait a second! Who are you?
the remaining girl in a green woman jacket stops me. If I recall correctly, she was the female student they introduced as a carnivore in that commercial.
I need to go after them. You're better off forgetting what you just saw.
Wait! You can't just...
She appears to be uninjured, and I can't lose time dealing with her. I ignore her and bucket after Labrys. He managed to ignore Basco. What's he like?
Hold it right there, Buster!
That voice. She caught up to me even though I'm running a full sprint? She must be quite an exceptional athlete. But I can't drag her into this. This is my duty. Should I run even harder? Nah. That might cause me to redline my heart rate, and that would deaden my legs for any upcoming fights. Or should I just convince her to leave? Unfortunately, it seems that both those options have been taken off the table now. I wrap my fist where there is nothingness. Resistance. Another invisible wall. Looks like this is the enemy's way of spying time. Sure enough, the female student catches up to me. She confronts me as she's trying to gain her breath.
You're gonna tell me what's going on!
So she wants an explanation. There's no harm in telling her what's going on since she and her friends are already caught up in this mess, but there's no need for them to learn details about it. If they just return to the real world, they can get out of this mess while keeping relatively normal lives.
What good would that do you?
What?
I'm here on a certain mission. You could even call it a duty. My resolution is nothing like yours, based on curiosity.
A duty?
I hit the invisible wall.
Ridiculous Grand Prix is still going on.
What? Wait, you mean...
The girl hurriedly wrenches around the space behind her. As I expected, her hand hits an invisible wall as well. That wall didn't exist when I first passed through that area.
We're trapped. So, like, do we...
That's what you get for coming after me so recklessly. The rule that one opponent must be defeated is still in effect.
She may be a girl and a student, but I don't intend to go easy on anyone as long as I have a mission to complete. I unleashed the aura and instantly silenced so-called tough guys all around the world. I was hoping that she would quietly back down if we had to go this far. But even though my aura dampened the girl's resolve a bit, she didn't even take a step back.
Alright, I accept.
Why are you willing to go to such lengths to catch up to Labrys?
I don't know why. I just know that she was in pain. I don't know if my reasons are better or worse than yours, but I can't turn my back on her.
The foolish words of a child. But there's a fire in her eyes that makes up for her lack of reason. She's much better company than the stupid people who insist in blabbering on. She's definitely piqued my interest a bit.
Alright. To answer your question, What you saw was the 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, Labrys. She was given a heart so she could use a persona.
A weapon? Then she really is a robot. But she's so cute. And she even sounds like a normal girl.
She has quite a perplexed look on her face. Even though she's already seen those mechanical arms and legs, it must be hard to believe in a robot could be that lifelike.
Oh, so that's what her lost memories were about. And since she has a heart, she has a shadow too.
She has a shadow? Do you mean the thing where there's 2 of her?
The girl does her best to explain the structure of the TV world to me. The world inside the TV apparently mirrors the feelings of those who enter it, and its appearance changes accordingly. She tells you that this fake school was most likely created from Miss President's Labrys' psyche. She also explains that the repressed inner force within oneself separate inside the TV world to become a shadow, and that those shadows try to kill the originators and replace them.
I get it now. The mastermind behind all this isn't Labrys, but her shadow.
I think that's it anyway. But I wonder what's with this tournament. What could she have wished for to make this happen?
I have some suspicions about that. Labrys may have been forced to do some inhumane things while she was in development. Her original circumstances may be related to the setup of this Grand Prix.
The girl goes pale upon hearing my words. Such a tale would be unimaginable for those living ordinary lives.
Then, this tournament is a reenactment of what Labrys went through in her past?
Even Mitsuru doesn't know that for sure. If there's anyone who can claim to, it'll be Labrys herself.
That's all I can tell you. If you still want to search for her, you'll have to defeat me to move on. What'll it be?
The girl swallows the time for a moment, but it isn't because of fear or hesitation. I can tell from the look in her eyes. She's made up her mind.
If Labrys wished to make us go through what she went through, that means she wanted to be understood. She wanted someone to save her.
That's just your guess, though.
But if it's possible I'm right, then I can't abandon her. That's why I won't go back until I've saved her. Her heart is worth fighting for.
Save, huh? Her eyes tell me that she completely believes what she's saying.
What's your name? Mine's Akihiko Sanada.
I'm Chie Satonaka, a 3rd year at Yasogami High.
I like the fire in your eyes. Then let's fight and see whose passion comes out on top.
So here we go. I get to play as Akihiko beating up Best Girl. Oh boy. Oh, he did a dragon punch. I don't even know how I did that, and I don't really care. It was awesome. That was more like a classic 2D brawler where we were doing like impossible moves to get past each other.
Looks like I win.
Damn it, this sucks. I lost. Oh well.
Chie says, smiling lightly.
Hey, Chie. You don't get to go search for Labrys like you wanted and you're laughing?
Well, I figured either way you'd save her. Labrys, I mean.
I can't resist cracking a little smile at Chie's words. She seems naive, but it seems she saw right through me. I guess she's sharper than she looks. One of my mission priorities was to limit collateral damage. To achieve that, I thought that destroying Labrys might be my only option. But now that plan has been scuttled. My current plan is to save Labrys and protect her. If I'm able to succeed at that, all danger to the surrounding area will be prevented. I'll commit myself to this plan from now on.
Can I ask you to give her a message? Please tell her I said I was sorry for saying such cruel things and doubting her. let her know I really want to talk with her when this is all over. Anyway, just tell her I apologize.
Yeah, I'll let her know.
Chie's words are clumsy as ever, but what she lacks is speaking ability and vocabulary. She makes up for with emotion.
I need to thank you, Chie.
Huh?
On my way here, I was told that my strength was fake. That I was just immersing myself in training to escape my fear of losing others. That I was just sticking my head in the sand. And that was true. The reason I'm so hard on myself is because I'm scared. That might be a weakness of mine. But watching you made me realize it's okay to be like that. No, I don't want to lose anyone again. Ever. But that's how I can become stronger. Sheer raw strength is pointless. Getting the ability to see your deepest wishes through is true strength.
That's a little abstract.
Oh, bless her.
But I guess it's a compliment, though I still feel a little embarrassed about it.
Aw. I can't help but smile as well. And after vowing to save Labras, I'll leave Chie in an attempt to make good on my promises.
Wait here for me. I'll bring Labras back no matter what.
As I run, the things that happened during my recent training and the things happening in this world start to remind me of each other. An old acquaintance's face flashes in my mind. Someone who took good care of me. Someone I haven't seen in a while. Kurosawa-san. I'd heard he'd been promoted to detective, but I haven't been able to personally congratulate him for that yet. There is another place I need to go visit.
Once this is all over, I should go see him too.
Go see him too? Oh, I reckon that'll be Ken at Gekkokan High. After being forced to travel a circuitous path, I was eventually led back to the very room I was in a few minutes ago, the announcement room. I push open the door ajar and find Labras inside. Is she the real one or the shadow? When Labras sees me, she seems genuinely frightened.
You again? You came all this way after me?
Her reaction and the color of her eyes. This didn't match any of the characteristics Chie told me its shadows would possess. It seems like this is truly the real one. Looks like she was still safe. Before she denies her shadow, I must take her into custody at once.
Come with me. I won't let you get hurt.
I take a step forward and hold out my hand. But Labras backs away, terrified, and keeps her distance.
I'm never going back there. I never want to get put through that again. I'm gonna run away. Just you watch me.
And where will you go? Is that how you're gonna solve everything? You won't even listen, huh? Fine. I didn't think anything I said would be enough to earn your trust. So come at me with everything you've got. I'll accept you for who you are.
The shadow will try and replace its originator. If I lose Labras, I won't be able to fulfill my duty. Is my strength enough to grant my wish? Something told me that the results of my training were about to get their first real test.
Finally!
That's a closer fight than I thought it would be. It was good fun though. I like that. That was a good fight.
Why won't anyone understand?
She finally stopped moving. But Labrys's expression tells me she's not all there right now. I wonder if I could get through to her now. Just as I'm about to speak. I only sensed the wind for a moment. An undetected ambush from behind. A giant axe spun at such high speed it looks like a circular blade to the naked eye. No matter what part it accesses my head, it'll decapitate me for sure. Better not let it hit me then.
That's a pretty dangerous looking electric fan you've got there.
The shadow glares at me with an expression of pure hatred. The murderous intent she shows is like any petty thugs I've faced, howling with rage as they try to land a punch. I'm in her head now. Looks like the real showdown's finally arrived. Having squandered a chance at an ambush, the shadow angrily prepares the next move. Labrys also sees the shadow and lets out a shocked yelp.
Please stop! This ain't what I wanted!
Hey, calm down. This is your shadow. It's you, isn't it?
The shadow is formed from the repressed parts of yourself. That's what Chie told me. But even after hearing the truth, Labrys continues to shake her head and deny it.
What good will accepting it? If I accept it, then I'm just...
That's right. There's no way he'd understand. The Kirijo group created you as a tool. Of course, that's the only way they can think of you.
My words will not reach Labrys while she's like this. The shadow's cruel words have a tight grip on her heart. It isn't easy to support someone whose weakness has filled them with doubts and taken over their heart. I decided to listen to what the shadow has to say. This way I can understand the weakness that Labrys is harboring.
Not that you're any better. You didn't hesitate at all to attack him. It just shows your true colors. You want the everyday boys and girls to experience what you had to go through, right? That's why we're in a school, having a fighting tournament. You want to see close friends fight for their lives against each other. Because if they do that, then they might understand. You want to make them understand.
That ain't true!
But it was no use. They didn't understand and kept getting in your way. It's all right, though. You don't have to worry about that anymore. I'll take care of everything from here. I'll destroy anyone who doesn't understand you and comes to get in your way. Just like you once did.
Stop it! That's all a lie. You're not me.
The shadow displays a satisfied smirk. She's waiting for the words of denial. It would be easier to just stop Labrys from saying those words, but it would be meaningless for me to do so. I keep my gaze on Labrys as she speaks the words of denial with finality.
You can't be me!
Yes, that's right. I'm not you. I'm...
Oh, I accidentally cut off. Sorry, people.
Yes, the power! I'm finally free. I won't let you or anyone else get in my way.
Sorry, there was another quick message from online. I stand before the shadows, laughing insanely and surging with newfound power. Her power is actually quite impressive, but I know there's no need for me to fear it. This is where the real battle begins.
You really think I'm gonna make it that easy?
The shadow could turn to face. Those are the same words that the shadow threw at me before, after all.
What's that? You wouldn't be destroyed that badly? Then I'll save her for later and crush you now!
I swore I'd protect Labrys. And I'm not gonna lose what I'm protecting ever again. Now, come get me!
Shut up, Carrijo Dog!
Damn, Carrijo Dog, come right out with it. Calling nothing but a dog, don't even give him a chance. Not that there's anything wrong with doggos, of course. Saying that to ensure that Avian doesn't kill me from the chat.
Finally!
Basically, she called him Carrijo Dog, and I'm just like, dogs are awesome. Because I wanted to ensure you weren't going to kill me from the chat, Avian. You have the silence and the shadow. I stand before Labrys, but she casts her eyes down sadly.
Hey, what's with that face? Stand up and look at me. I have a message for you from Chie.
Huh?
She wanted to apologize for doubting you and hurting your feelings. She was really sorry about what she said.
It's not a case of getting good, Avian. I think there's just like one particular combo you can spam in this mode and you get through. I reckon if I turned up in any kind of tournament, I'd get my ass absolutely wiped.
She wanted to tell you herself, too. She was so determined to save your heart that she threw everything she had at me.
Chie-san said that?
Also, Mitsuru, the girl in charge of the Kirijo group, learned what happened to you and was mortified to hear of it. Do you still think no one understands? That your pain is unique to you?
I never thought of things like that. I never imagined anyone understood me. But that's...
I'm a machine, though. I'm not human. Labrys mutters and casts her eyes down again.
I don't know anymore. What am I supposed to believe?
You're human, so you must have the answer. Labrys gazes up at me expectantly. It's true that I have something to believe in. But I don't just have something to believe in simply because I'm human. Plenty of people walk the earth with nothing to believe. I had to find it and grab hold of myself. Indeed, I found it only after facing down my own weakness.
Look, I don't know much about how you suffered in the past, or how many times your heart was broken. But don't give up. Believe in yourself and keep standing up to the world. No matter how many times you fail, some things you have to grasp for yourself.
Labrys looks up. This time she finally looks me in the eye.
Myself?
That's right. If there's something you really want, fight for it. You'll never get it by running away.
Oh, nice pun there, Avian, saying humans don't have the answer, Makoto has the answer. Well, technically, the one who found the answer was Aegis, so it's actually Aegis who has the answer.
What's your strongest desire?
Labrys falls silent. I don't prod her for an answer. You can't rush this. This is something one must find by facing down themselves, searching their heart for the answer, and making it take form on their own. I can't help her find a way. If she doesn't find it on her own, it'll be meaningless. Labrys places her hand to her chest. She then closes her eyes and loses herself deep in thought. Eventually, she opens her eyes again and looks at me.
I want people to understand how I feel.
Then there's someone you need to tell that to. And that's yourself over there.
When I point over at the shadows falling silent, Lapras inhales sharply. Lapras' shadow is part of herself that she just denied. But, because she denied that part, she must also realize that there's a question she needs to answer. Why did I deny myself? I'm sure Lapras has found the answer already.
I get it. That's what you've been saying this whole time. In your own way. Yeah. I understand now.
After making this momentous realization, Lapras stands up on her own will and faces her shadow. The awful part of herself that she denied.
I'm sorry I ignored you all this time. I was the one who left you all alone. No. You are me, after all. This is my persona. So this is the other me.
It's not easy accepting yourself, but you managed to get past that. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Lapras' reply is slightly embarrassed, yet proud. It's the exact combination of emotions I was hoping to see.
We should get going. You have some things you want to tell Chie too, right?
As we leave the announcement room, Mitsuru contacts me. Once the shadow disappeared, all the interference that was created went with it. The jamming, the invisible walls, all gone. I began escorting Lapras back to the real world. I followed Mitsuru's directions and reached the specified location. A number of people had already gathered, and I noticed Teddy, Kanji, Chie, and others I had seen in the P1 commercial as well.
Oh, phew! You're okay, Miss President. Or should I call you Lapras?
Chie-san.
In contrast to Chie's enthusiasm, Lapras looks towards me as if she's unsure about how to feel about everything. Before I can nudge Lapras over towards Chie rushes over and takes Lapras' hand. She smiles brightly after she confirms that Lapras is alright. Lapras could not resist the infectious air of happiness and breaks into a smile of her own.
Hello, sorry, who are you?
I'm liking that look you've got going on. It's like you just single-handedly saved the world from an evil army.
Yosuke, don't be so rude.
Chie turns towards me and bows energetically.
Akihiko-san, thank you for saving Lapras.
No need to thank me. I just delivered the message you left me with.
Don't you have some people you want to introduce Lapras to? After being prompted, Chie dashes off, tugging Lapras by her hand towards the friends. The people waiting to greet them are everyday students. But none of them seem all that concerned by the fact that Lapras is an android. In fact, it seems like they're welcoming to their group with big smiles. Looks like they're a pretty open-minded bunch. As I'm watching them, I'm joined by some familiar faces.
Are you alright, Akihiko?
I raise my hand as a response to her. That's enough for Mitsuru to understand the situation and smile. Aige stands next to me and gazes at the group of people gathered around Chie and Lapras.
It seems my sister has also forged a bond.
That takes you back, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The tarot card appears, and we get the pontification from Igor.
Yes, it does. Though I am a machine, I understand what it means for people's hearts to come together. I would definitely like for my sister to learn that as well.
The battle that took place 3 years ago marks a major turning point, not just in my life, but for Aigis and the others that fought alongside me as well. Lapras has just reached that same turning point. Watching this unfold for someone else feels nostalgic and heartwarming at the same time. Mitsuru, however, is standing unmoved. She furrows a brow and sporting a look I know all too well. What's troubling her now of all times? Aigis notices the serious look on Mitsuru's face and speaks to her in a hushed tone.
Are you thinking of sealing my sister away again?
Don't tell me you're going ahead with that. I know you're in a delicate position, but I have serious issues with this.
No, you misunderstand. I realize full well the situation here. That's not what I was thinking about. What's bothering me is that the true culprit in this case never did show their face.
What? Didn't Lapras say she escaped here on her own?
That's what I thought most likely at the time, but that scenario doesn't match what we've learned since then. How did Lapras learn about this world? Why did she call in these other Persona users?
You had some basic investigation done on Inaba, right? If she regained her consciousness a while ago, it's possible she infiltrated your network and found out about that stuff.
That's not my only doubt. Labras's ability to cloud others' senses can only go as far as creating hallucinations. That's inconsistent with the ability to control people so thoroughly as to make them risk their lives in a hijacking. There's too much that doesn't add up.
That does seem suspicious.
They're all finally coming to the realization. Mitsuru's right. There are too many unexplained circumstances here. But why stand around worrying about it? All the answers we need are a few simple questions away. I call out to Lapras.
Lapras, how did you escape all the way here?
Huh? I was inside a chamber and...
Lapras tries to continue, but her body immediately goes completely rigid. That's not good. Lapras looks like she's standing completely devoid of thought, but I know better.
Get back!
I shout out a warning to everyone in the area. Lapras immediately reaches for a large axe on her back and brandishes it.
What a pain.
I have to protect Chie and the other civilians. I immediately take a step forward to engage the still expressionless Lapras. This is a different situation from our earlier routine. Since Lapras can now use a persona, this is going to be a much more difficult fight. If we join forces to attack her, this will be a simple matter. However, Labras's body has already taken a lot of damage from all the battles she's been in. There's no way of knowing if she'd survive a combined assault from all of us. Doubt and hesitation swirl around my mind and cloud my thoughts. I must make a decision to follow it with no regrets. That's when Mitsuru-san's sharp voice cuts through the air.
Akihiko, buy me some time.
Looks like she has some kind of plan up her sleeve. Then, my course of action has been decided.
You got it.
I tightly ball my hand into a fist and extend it towards my opponent. And I reiterate my vow.
Lapras, I will protect you no matter what.
Final. Oh, nice! KO to a Caesar clubber in the head. That sounded so nice of me, didn't it?
Looks like I managed to keep her intact.
But she still seems to be under control of someone else. Do we have to strike down another one controlling her? But where could they be controlling Labras from? Just as I prepare to check the surrounding area for any outside presences, a voice echoes from somewhere.
You resorted to your fists in the end, after all. That's why people say your strength is fake.
There's a familiar voice I can't quite place. Darkness manifests from out of nowhere and coalesces in the form of a person.
What is that?
It's another Akihiko-san?
Whoa! Is that Akihiko-san's shadow?
The darkness dissipates, and what was left standing there was me. Just like Labras' shadow from before, he looks exactly like me. The only difference is in the eyes. While the others are stirring, he coldly declares,
You go on about resolve and whatnot. What have you been doing these past few years? Just training yourself to fight better, that's all. You haven't grown at all as a person. You're still running from your fear of losing people, just like before. So you are watching us. Looks like the mastermind of this thing has a lot of time to kill.
Huh? Mastermind?
He's taken aback by my taunt, but continues on.
What are you talking about? I came from the sea of your soul. Enough. Do you think you rattle me with that tired old theme?
Surely it's not Erebus. I'd be very disappointed if this was another form of Erebus. The Shadow, no, the Mastermind, arrogantly tries to rile me up, but his taunts are powerless against me. I'm not taking the bait. No anger, not even surprise. There's nothing rising within me. My heart was completely placid.
So you won't admit it. Then, rise again, my puppet. Dance until you shatter.
The Shadow orders the fallen Labras to stand. As if a puppet on strings, Labras responds to the Shadow's command.
Looks like you've shown your stripes already. That power proves you're not my shadow. So what? You still have no choice but to suffer. Unless you destroy this thing, it will keep rising up and attacking you all. What will you do?
I glance over at Mitsuru. She gives me a slight nod and I laugh.
Sad to say, but this show is over.
What?
It means we won't fall for the same trick again. Yamagishi, now!
Just as Mitsuru's voice sounds, the ominous presence lurking within Labras was repelled. Turns out, the person who Mitsuru contacted before entering the TV world was Fuka. I see. Her persona abilities could disrupt the control on Labras without her having to enter this world.
Are you all okay? Fuka-san?
Huki Yamagishi. She's a friend of ours who helped us greatly in the battle 3 years ago. She has an analytical persona, and she herself is a wizard digging up useful information. She's also very good at engineering, actually. She's actually a very good mechanical engineer. The Asagami High students don't know anything about Fuka, and are looking around in surprise.
Is this like Rise-chan's persona? Wait, where is she? This feeling. What the? That voice. It's not coming from in here. Whoever it is out there.
Seriously? She can use hers in the real world? That's amazing.
That's not your shadow, Akihiko-senpai. It's just a fake mimicking your appearance.
Very impressive to guess correctly from such a long distance away.
You must be the one behind all this. You stole Labris and threw her into a TV. You were after Persona users from the start. That's why you chose this school and tampered with Labris's memories. And you just demonstrated how you controlled those hijackers.
Why did you go after these students? What are you up to? Personas and shadows are one and the same. If I poison your hearts, I can recruit shadows with unparalleled strength.
Wait, what? You mean turn our personas back to shadows?
The heart is frail. Its weaknesses are never fully vanquished. Given the opportunity, it can betray you and return to darkness. Old wounds that you thought you had overcome opened once again. You almost let go of your hearts, your personas. This one's desire to make people suffer was perfectly suited for such a plan.
Plan?
You caused all this to gather strong shadows?
Why would you do such a thing?
All the loose ends are finally getting tied up. I glare at the enemy as he smugly reveals his grand scheme.
That's enough. I see now that there's no room for any more excuses.
I pull out my evoker. I can perform a summoning without this now, but I still couldn't just let it go. It serves as a constant reminder of those days fighting as part of S.E.E.S. It's so I don't forget the joy, the sorrow, and the losses from those days. I point the muzzle to my head just like I used to. The feeling of cold metal, the easy trigger pull.
You said before that I couldn't cast aside my fears.
Back then, I felt that I didn't care if I lived or died. I just wanted all the power I could manage. Whether my disregard for my own life was because I secretly wanted someone to punish me, or because I wanted someone stronger than I to forgive me and allow me to live. In either case, my resolution is no longer the same.
But I'll tell you something. People who have no fears end up dying early or throwing their lives away. My determination coexists with my fears. I know that death and loss are always close by.
I squeeze the trigger of my evoker. A nostalgic sensation. I was just a kid 3 years ago when I had my life on the line. But now, though, I can't allow myself to die. In my heart, I know I cannot lose this fight. I have accumulated all this power to protect others. I am risking my life in order to stay alive and keep my friends safe. That is my current determination.
And you still say you're my shadow?
If a shadow is just another form of one's persona, then...
My determination would never leave my side.
So, when they were talking about putting their persona, their evokers aside in the answer, evidently Akihiko couldn't let his go. He had to face it.
Final. Fight!
All out attacks are finished, I'll do. I'll have that.
No wonder you managed to drive back a god once. I didn't think you'd resist this fiercely.
I thought that I'd done some serious damage to that thing, but it seems he has no intention of giving up his ridiculous charade. He nonchalantly carries on while still wearing my face.
This is fine with me. Good enough for my purposes. I've confirmed you have enough power to meet my expectations.
Good enough, my ass.
Who do you think you are? You're really pissing me off!
Oh, Chie's angry now. Chie wants to kill him. The mastermind contorts my face into an eerie smirk and chuckles.
I doubted there'd be any meaning in changing my appearance, but sure enough, it made for a very enjoyable game. I will see you in another guise next time. Just wait until then. Wait!
There's no way I'm letting you get away. I immediately closed the gap between myself and him, but with a final smirk, he disappeared. All that remains is his laughter.
Yamagishi!
The reading disappeared. It didn't move, it just vanished. What could this mean?
Back to square one again.
Bullshit! Don't you ever come back again!
Still, what was it planning on using our persona powers for?
It hasn't given up, right? And we'll see it again.
Indeed. Based on what it said, I have every reason to assume that it'll return. The enemy's objectives are still mostly unclear, and we don't even know who he is. We do have a lead, though. I look towards Mitsuru and Aigis. Though I can't say this in front of the students, the fact that the mastermind knew about Labras is a big clue. We're most likely dealing with someone related to Kirijo. Yep, I did say those scientists from back in the past. I wonder if one of them, got out from the lab or something like that.
Don't worry about it. We'll handle things from here.
Wait, but it kinda said it was still after us.
Of course. You should be aware that the enemy is out there. Akihiko only means that there is no need to abandon your lives to pursue it. We will do our best to ensure that no harm comes to you. That is, after all, our duty.
Now let's leave the rest of the explanations to Mitsuru. She's much better at saying the right things in these situations. In the meantime, I glare at the empty space where the enemy was.
The battle will go on, huh?
After all the members of the Shadow Operatives safely returned from inside the TV, we decided to spend a day in Inaba doing the follow-up stuff and leave quietly the next day.
I'm glad things went well. Oh, but first, it's good to see you again. This is becoming a real reunion.
As Fuka looks behind her to the back seat, Mitsuru and Aigis smile at each other. Even for those of us who fought that battle 3 years ago, journeying in a world inside TV to retrieve a robot still sounds absurd. Still, we managed to accomplish our mission. We retrieved Labras, and we kept the incident contained as possible. However, our plan to leave quietly like a covert ops unit should was foiled by that group of students.
They were certainly a lively bunch to the very end.
Mitsuru seems to have thought the lapse of security wasn't enough to sustain the overall success of the mission and smiles. I recall the smile on the faces of those students as they came by to see us off from Inaba. I didn't think they'd all show up. They turned the quiet departure we planned into a big scene. Labras, whose Mitsuru is opted not to reseal, is still gazing out the rear window and waving at them.
Do you regret parting with them?
A little. But it's only a matter of time. I promised Chie and the rest that I'd definitely come back.
I want to see the Inaba group and say goodbye to them in person. Labras is the one who insisted on a formal goodbye. Not only that, she herself decided to leave them for a while and join the Shadow Operatives. Even if it was unlikely that she could go to school with them, there may have been some way for her to see her new friends more often, instead of joining up with our secret group. But that wasn't what Labras wanted. There were things I must do in order to pursue the mastermind that dragged us all in this incident. If I stay with those Shadow Operatives, I can accomplish those things. Those are her words. She's formed bonds, but rather than depending on them, she'd rather push forward. This must be why she's able to overcome a past filled with more grief than any ordinary person's. Her resolve is amazing. And Labras isn't the only one who gained a new determination in these lands either. In order to speak in my own resolve, I straightened myself and faced Mitsuru.
Mitsuru. May I talk to you?
What is it? It's unlike you to be so formal.
This won't be any time soon, but I'm thinking of leaving the Shadow Operatives eventually.
What?
Huh?
Fuka doesn't seem as hard-hit as the other members, but even she's looking at me with confusion in her eyes. This is actually something that I've been thinking about from the very beginning. These feelings have been smoldering inside me ever since I received my first mission. I finally found an avenue to direct those feelings. Mitsuru needs to realize this is something that I've given a lot of thought to, and responds in a business-like manner.
May I ask why?
There's something I want to do now. I can't do it while I'm part of an unofficial group like this.
People who fear random acts of violence and crime, people down on their luck who have no one they can turn to. I want to be someone they can rely on. There is one great power that protected me in the past when I was faced with senseless acts of violence that caused me great loss. It was an ordinary police officer. Right now, I'm forced to turn a blind eye to the plights of some people. As long as I have to carry out my obligations as a member of the Shadow Operatives, I won't be able to help them. I'm going to have to forgo protecting some of the smaller things in order to deal with the larger missions. This case made me realize that I don't want to give up on those smaller things. I want to protect them.
I see. I think you would be well suited to it, Akihiko-san.
So maybe there's a manga spin-off somewhere where Chie and Akihiko become a buddy cop couple. And if it hasn't existed, why? It's kind of writing itself. Becoming a police officer to protect one city would be great too. I'm not against working my way up through official channels to become a force of security, but greater power is required to protect a larger area. And that power can't just come from my fists. There are greater intangible powers in society as well. It wouldn't be a bad idea to work my way up into the upper echelon as a government official either. Then again, I don't know if I'm cut out for all that bureaucratic stuff. Mitsuru had been quietly taking in all my musings, and interrupted my train of thought with some surprising words.
Of all the things you were going to say, that's it?
What do you mean, that's it? Even I know it's pretty ordinary, but...
Whether you man a police box or become a career officer, you should do it. And if you do, then I'll consider your circumstances, to an extent, whenever I need you.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
It means you're not going anywhere, Akihiko. She has you under her thumb. For a moment I couldn't understand what Mitsuru meant.
Wait, are you planning on making me belong to two departments at once? Wouldn't use the Kirijo name for that, would you?
I do actually like that. I didn't pause it before, but there's something in the scene now that's kind of cute. And there's that sly glance from Mitsuru.
Bite your tongue? I won't do anything. But even if I don't, it'll happen on its own. You underestimate the organization's need for you. Leaving that aside, if you're going to wish to become something like that, then there's something you need to do first.
You're right. I need to train more and...
No, I meant going back to college.
Mitsuru sternly adds, you should follow Yamagishi's example. That reminds me, I took a leave of absence from college to go on my journey. I didn't have a problem with my classes while I was still attending. But what about now?
Do not worry, Akihiko-san. I will calculate the units and time necessary for graduating, and plan the most effective curriculum for you.
I'll be counting on you, I guess. I've been thinking this for a while now, but Akihiko seems to need someone to manage him.
I'm honored.
Another trial for me to face.
Someone's in trouble.
Yep, Labras, you're not wrong. Labras interjects with a joke at my expense and starts laughing. I guess Mitsuru and even Fuka warmly smile back at Labras. For a robot, Labras sure has great timing and a great smile. I give up and heave a deep sigh before leaning back into my seat. Labras quickly formed new bonds in Inaba, and she will surely continue to form new bonds while she works within the Shadow Operatives. One's heart changes from encountering others. It's the same whether your heart's covered with muscle or metal. Even if the culprit behind this incident were to appear again, he'd be no match for my new determination. The weather is great today. The day's cloudless sky is a perfect metaphor for my new resolve. Thinking about how fitting the situation is makes me laugh to myself. After all this traveling, I finally feel like I've taken a step forward. And I get the feeling that's the ending credits one more time. And it is indeed. So there we are. Akihiko's story comes to an end, and it ends kind of similar to Chie's in many ways, with him deciding that he wants to become a force for good, protect people as a constable, and that's awesome. So, we've done 2 stories, we got ourselves through, and the game is stuck.
Welcome to the Velvet Room. This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. Now then, why don't you introduce yourself?
Now, as you can see, we've still got Mitsuru's story to complete, and then there's Elizabeth's story to start. And we're going to do that on Monday evening. Yes, believe it or not, I'm taking 3 days off. Now, the reason for that is I've got a lot of stuff going on in the weekend. Of course, next week I'm off to that convention with Nerdy Hound. And Nerdy Hound is going to be joining me on Wednesday evening for the final stream before we go, where we'll be doing some more classic wrestling madness. That's going to be on Wednesday evening. But on Monday evening at 8 PM BST, we're going to be back where we're going to hopefully complete Mitsuru's arc and get started on the madness that's in Elizabeth. But until then, thank you all very, very much for watching, and good night.